You ready? All right. Welcome back to the Raised Hunting Podcast. And today I'm the special guest along with Easton. We're both special guests because Warren is going to actually tell us. So for whatever reason, we don't know what the topic is of today's podcast until Warren tells us. And he wasn't telling us until we start. So I can't wait. This should be quite interesting considering that he's the one that has Warren's whatever facts.
Wacky facts.
Warren's wacky facts. So I can't wait.
Is that what it's called, or did I just come up with that?
That's a separate segment. No, that's what it's called.
Okay, I thought so too.
Yeah.
All right. So take off. Let's see what we're doing here.
Okay. First off, real quick, I have to apologize to all of you guys because I absolutely railed this. Easton was correct.
Oh!
There was
I did not know if he was going to admit that or not, and he
Good thing
did.
we're filming that.
I always-
you
I
don't
always-
hear that very often.
Hey, you are recording, right?
That is false. I
Okay,
always take
perfect.
ownership of it.
We're going to make one of those remix like music videos of Easton's right. Easton's right.
Hold on. Don't,
there
don't-
is-
You're going to jinx it if you
Okay,
keep
go
going.
on, go on.
There is, in fact, from what I can find, no way to figure out who left us reviews on Spotify. So I thank all of you guys, but like I said, I screwed it up pretty good. So is what we're going to do is we took all of you guys that have responded, which that's the other thing that we don't know. The thing we've told you guys tons of episodes that we don't know how to respond to you yet on there, and so that's why we do it on here. I assumed that you guys probably left reviews, and so I took your guys' names and put you in a pot, and then we took the Apple people and put you in a pot. And so, like I said, this is my fault, and I apologize, and I screwed this one up. So you guys let me know how you want to do it next time because it was not the outcome that was intended. So shout outs real quick on Apple people. CM272, Kentucky Spain, Nick Knott, and D. Michael P.
Nick Knott is consistent.
He's the man.
Yes, there's lots of you guys that are being consistent, and Apple people are getting after it now. So we really appreciate you guys. So Spotify, Chef Scott, you won one hat. So please shoot us a message on Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever's easiest for you. Just get a hold of us, or you can reply on the thing because you know how to do that. But you're gonna have to give us information for us to get a hold of you because I don't know how to answer on there yet. Chef Scott, which is weird because I'm technically inclined. And then Apple Cole_Courtney won the other one. So with that being said, I think we have our household items out of the way.
You got it, man. You're
All right,
rolling.
so the topic that we're going to cover is one that I was presented with on a podcast the other day, okay? And I won't say their name because I don't know if they want me to throw them under the bus or not. But it's two really good buddies, and they're kind of in a conflict.
Are you
Okay.
saying that you're on so many podcasts that people couldn't do process of elimination?
Oh, no, they definitely could. But I just don't know if those guys want me to, like, chuck them out there.
All right, fair enough.
I think it was the Hunter's Advantage guys or something like that. So anyways, if you go listen to the Hunter's Advantage podcast,
You might hear what.
we're going to go ahead and throw them under the bus because I
Yeah.
had to try to mediate for them, okay? So what the question I was presented with was if you had, let's just say, never killed a deer bigger than 120, okay?
Okay.
But yet you've been fortunate enough to kill quite a few deer, and now you have a place that is supposedly a really good quality place, but there's other people on that place, meaning like a lease type situation, and you've had opportunities at deer of equivalent size or bigger.
Like as in the lease situation, like you
Like
and
the
a
three
couple
of us
buddies
in a
lease
lease,
it? Okay.
yes.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and it's in a really good area, and they're trying to manage it well, and get these deer to a certain age. Okay, the question was, at what point do you pass a deer bigger than anything that you've killed for the premise of age? Okay, so if you've never killed anything bigger than 120, at what point do you pass a deer that's 130, even if he's 3?
You don't.
That was my thought. Now the only thing I will say that I think you have to keep in mind there is, what about in the event that this is a really good piece of property and you have other people on this same place that are also on the lease that are trying to manage.
So is there some type of rules or guidelines? Because I feel like that every person would be different in this situation. I mean, but if there's something that you've kind of set yourself into that you got to follow.
Well, I think that's what makes it really interesting is because you have two sides of this. One, I think a lot of us hunt places with buddies. And I think a lot of times there's like imaginary lines drawn there, right? Where it's kind of like, hey, we're not going to shoot this one, where the other person may not necessarily agree with that, and so as friendships, I think you have to be really careful with your friendships on sharing properties and stuff like that. But basically, is what his one buddy was saying is that he really wanted to see him kill a good deer, a deer bigger than anything he'd been able to kill yet, and that he didn't think he should be worrying about the age yet. If the biggest deer of your life,
if a 130-inch deer
presents
came
its-
by, shoot that sucker because it's bigger than anything you've ever killed so far.
Well,
yes,
I have an opinion, somewhat.
Hold on, and what about the guy that would be the shooter? He's thinking he has to wait for something bigger.
he's kind of in two places. It sounds, from what I was able to gather, it sounds like one, he's partly feels as though he doesn't want to do that and irritate other people on the lease and lose his opportunity to hunt there. And then the second part of that was he feels as though it'd be more fulfilling to kill a bigger deer that was old or mature.
Is he okay with a 5-year-old deer that's 125, 130?
Absolutely.
As long if it's 5 years old, or I don't know what maybe it's 4. But
I think they were trying to shoot for 5.
Right.
Yeah. And supposedly the whole neighborhood and everything is managed well. Like if the deer makes it, there's a good chance he's gonna make it. Meaning, I guess if you pass the deer, there's a good chance he's gonna live. He's probably not gonna go get smoked right away on the neighbor's property. It sounds like.
I put it in perspective of types of hunters, because I think there's a good general rule of thumb that there's 3 types of hunters, and I don't think that there's one better than the other or not good, like it's not okay to be, which is kind of surprising for some people. But out of the 3 hunters, the only thing that would be a commonality would be that you're hunting for the right reasons, such as conservation, you're getting meat, whatever else. But the type of hunters, there's somebody who's going for age class, there's somebody who is going for the size of the antlers, and then there's somebody who doesn't give a crap either way. Like they just want to hunt.
meat hunter.
Yep. So a meat hunter. So you have 3 types of hunters. They're all good. They're all fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with any of them. You have to ask yourself at what stage you're at, because if it sounds like for him, it sounds like he's got plenty of experience under his belt, but maybe hasn't necessarily experienced places where there's larger deer. Maybe this is the first place. So in my opinion, you would start with the antler size as opposed to an age caliber, because, and I'm just going off kind of what I've done, because I was the shoot anything. Like I wasn't passing anything that I got my heart going. That's what I was good with it. Okay. Once I got past that, then I was like, okay, well, I've shot 134-inch deer. I would like to kill 135-inch deer. Like that's the next step, And so as I took my steps into the size of them, I went into the antler size. So I went from not caring, just to shooting whatever, to antler size, to now I'm to the point of not necessarily just age range, because in the places that I hunt, I can't necessarily control that very well. Other people have a pretty dang good chance at killing those deer too. But I'm still going to try to find, like, if I have a 3-year-old that's 150 and I think that there's a chance that he could make it, I'm going to take the risk probably. I'm going to sit there and be like, okay, hopefully he's there next year. So in my opinion, for him, he's got to just weigh whether or not he cares more about an aged deer or cares more about the size of the deer, because an aged deer is a whole nother, in my opinion, depending on where you're at, a 150-inch deer could be a heck of a challenge, depending on what is on your farm.
He said that the top end on this place is, it seems as though for the most part is low 150s. Like that's your bigger deer.
So they have a lot.
Oh, well.
They have some big deer.
Like for us, like I'd say our top ends for the most part is 170s.
Yeah.
We may have a few outliers that are over that, but for the most part, like 170 kind of seems to be our top range.
And there's 150?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. My point was that, like, wherever your area is, that if it's a 150-inch deer, like you're saying, that might be the biggest ones, or 170, if you select that, like, I want to kill between 140 to 150-inch deer, whatever that that size range is a pretty big or a pretty tough challenge in my opinion, because it's the fewest amount that are there, and you got to hone in on where 1 or 2 of those deer are at. But I think it's even harder for an age caliber. If you're going for specific deer that are 5 to 6, 7, 8 years old, they've obviously made it that long, and whether they're really, really big or not, that is going to be harder, because not only is there going to be less of them, there's going to be less of them, and the ones that are there are going to be incredibly intelligent, or unless you get really lucky and they're just a really lucky deer. But the chances of that, they typically aren't going to last that long if they are there. So in my opinion, he's got to step up the ranks. He's got to understand if he wants to just jump to that extra challenge, go for it. There's nothing wrong with it either way. But when you're on a lease with your buddies, you better be open to each other. Like, this is my goals. Like, this is what I want to do before you even get into the lease. Because if you guys aren't going to be on the same page, you ain't going to have friends either.
Well, to me, the one thing that makes this that makes this question actually interesting is, because otherwise I don't feel like there's any discussion, is his experience. Because I think we would all sit here and tell you, if they're not experienced, and you need to be shooting deer.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be.
Well, it sounds like he's killed quite a few, huh?
Okay, so let's take somebody now.
Well, hang on.
Yeah, he is. Okay,
well,
go
let me, because I was in that situation. Okay, I grew up didn't even see a Pope and Young deer till I was in my 20s, and then when we moved to Montana, I still had not killed a Pope and Young deer, and that was kind of the only reason Pope and Young just stood out was it was a number that it was something that I could clarify. I didn't really, when someone would describe a 10-point buck or an 8-point buck, I knew what they were talking about if it was Pope and Young or not.
Right.
And so I moved to Montana, and I can tell you right now, at that point in my life, if someone had told me that I needed to hold out for an age class deer, I would have been like, I'm out. I was trying to kill a good deer, what I've considered a dream buck of mine. Now, at that point, though, I didn't have the success that he had. I had killed lots of deer with my bow, but I had not killed a Pope and Young whitetail. I hadn't had an opportunity to even hunt one. So once I killed one, then it was I didn't necessarily, like you're saying, you went from 135 or 134 to 135. Mine was 125 or bigger each year. I just wanted to repeat that, keep that benchmark.
Consistent.
Yeah, consistent. And at the same time, I would say I was hunting something similar to what he is. My high-end mark where I was hunting in Montana was about the 150 mark.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was like, well, if I shoot this deer, I'm not going to kill one of the big ones. I only had one or two of the big ones to hunt, and gosh dang, when you hit the rattling antlers and one comes running in and he's what you've been dreaming of and it's going to be your third one in that. So therefore I have a wall full of 125 to 135 inch kind of deer. And
was there even a 150 there to hunt every year though?
Not every year. I
feel like a mid-40s was probably the biggest deer that you had.
You'd see one, but for the number of deer that there was,
yeah,
it was few
rare.
And far between, and once in a while you'd see one that would wander through that was bigger. I saw 160 some inch kind of deer once, I think.
But not necessarily that were there where you were getting to hunt them, other than MJ.
Well, that was later on. So then when we moved down and started to hunt,
okay, so you were saying that was just where you were first started.
I was hunting a place up by Choteau, Montana. It's not, you can't hunt it anymore. It used to be a bird preserve.
Okay.
So it was archery only. And so anyhow, that's where I killed a lot of these deer, Which
is where, like, now you have just as good a chance of having a grizz walk
with
you, right?
Probably a better chance.
I'd be out. Screw that.
So anyhow, so my hat's off to the guy. If the guy who's saying he's going to make that jump to age class, that's a big deal. My hat's off to him because it's gonna be hard on him. But if he's willing to do that, that should be okay. A buddy shouldn't be pushing on him to say, no, you need to shoot that 130-inch deer. It's bigger than anything you've ever shot.
Well, as far as that goes,
his buddy was all for me because I was like, yeah, you smoke it. Like. No, I mean, but I did say too, you got to take in consideration that situation. Meaning, because I told him too, at the same time, it's different if there was no other. That's where I do think the experience thing is the only thing to me that makes that an interesting topic, is because he does have the experience too, where maybe a 3-year-old 140 wouldn't make him happy because he's killed lots of other deer. Where we all agree, a newer hunter, you need to be shooting those things.
Yep,
but they also were saying that, that he's saying that some of the younger deer are in the 140 range or so, high 30s, 140s. And to me, I was like, well, if the top end is low 50s, I'm torching the 3-year-olds
Yeah, no
too. I mean,
But at the same time, maybe these guys are stepping into something where they could end up
they think they can
increasing.
develop them.
Yeah, and you could end up
Well,
with some
either way, if
160-inch kind of deer.
If your buddies are on a lease with you, the person that you want with you would be an age class person. Because no matter what, whether they're
The buddies probably would rather have him not shooting, but
Yeah.
everyone, I'm sure that
it's not going to hurt anything.
But I would think that they would have had that conversation. I know that there's certain things that, for instance, every place that I ever took someone that was public land when I lived in Montana, I had the discussion with them. Hey, I'd appreciate it if you don't come back here without talking to me first, because technically you can. Yeah, I can't.
That's an unwritten rule.
Unwritten rule, but I made it not an unwritten rule. I wanted it verbalized that, hey, I'd sure appreciate it if I show you where I'm about to take you elk hunting. I don't want you coming back here without me.
You're way nicer than I would have been.
Don't take your friend. Well, I can't blindfold them.
I would have. I would either blindfold them or not take them.
Yeah, but it's public. You can't stop them from going.
Yeah, so
You
you
can't,
don't. But you
but
could
you
make
can
sure you don't ever take them there, and they know where it is.
I do not agree with either of you on that.
Oh, dude.
Are you kidding me, bro?
No.
Dude, when you
You're
work as hard
nuts.
as I did to find the places, and these guys can't.
Then if
they've
that's
been
the
hunting
case,
4 or
why
5
take
years.
somebody?
Because I've had found the place, I'm like, okay, I got a spot. I want to share it with. So I took several different people.
You do agree with that. And I will
Okay.
stand on that hill because Joey could have killed your deer last year, and he didn't do it because of respect for you. If Joey took you to an elk spot that was public and he'd worked his ass off to find it, and it was really good and really consistent on producing elk, and he asked you, hey, man, I'm going to show you this place, but, please just do me a favor and don't come back here unless I'm with you. Sit there and tell me that you would go in there without Joey.
I would respect it.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but I would not be the one saying that. If Joey asked me to do that, I'm going to respect that. But
because you're a good friend, so otherwise you're a piece of shit friend.
No, I'm saying that I wouldn't tell somebody that in the first place.
Well, you're right. You shouldn't have to. You should. It should be, because I can tell you right now, anyone that's ever taken me to a public place, I've never gone back to unless they invited me back, or because it's just that tough. And maybe it's elk hunting. That's what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking about it.
I think it's different out west a little bit because there's so much ground that is public.
But the elk are only on certain parts of that public. You can waste a whole lot of time on the other 9 million acres and not focused on the 1,000 acre chunk where they all are.
If I walk back into a spot I asked a buddy not to go to, we're throwing hands. There ain't no doubt about it.
Okay, so it's a little off topic. Sorry, but anyhow, that there are some unwritten rules, and I would think that in this particular case, it almost would even be written that, hey, this is what we're trying to do. If he's paying his part, here's what. We're not telling you can't shoot whatever, but we would, we're trying to manage for 5-year-old deer and trying to see if we. Man, you've stepped into that. Again.
So let's take this situation. What should the person be doing that they killed one deer, and then their second deer was a 150 plus or 160? Should they be passing?
No,
not a thing.
No.
Okay.
No, you should still be shooting anything.
That's
you got lucky.
We've already had that.
So,
that's like the kid that accidentally kills a 200-inch deer.
Not accidentally.
Got lucky.
Yeah.
Dad puts him down in a tree or whatever. A deer walks by and he shoots it. Okay, now you don't shoot anything but 220.
Yeah.
Not that. That's
okay. So now let's take another instance. Okay, another one for us.
Sure.
This will be really interesting, I think. Your biggest deer is 180. Yours is 167. And mine's 176. So let's say that.
Hey, I'm not actually that far off. Let's go. That's the first time I put those numbers together.
So let's say that.
Dang, I'm proud of that. That is.
And if you want to get down to brass tacks, I'm actually 179 and 7/8.
Well, I'm 176 and 5/8.
Yeah, so.
You said 176 though.
Yeah, but what are you, 167 and an 8?
2/8.
Yeah, you didn't.
Yeah,
You didn't
2/8.
round up on any of your guys, so you can't round up on mine and put me into a whole new spectrum.
We can't.
We haven't
this
broke the
isn't
one-
fair,
He hasn't
though,
broken
if we don't,
180.
If we don't care the count the numbers of them though.
Do what?
Numbers.
If we don't count, you said that you're close. You are of the top 3. But then if we start
Okay,
going into our
yeah.
number 2s and 3s.
Yeah, but if we go into those, I'm even closer.
with your number 1.
Yeah, but hold
not
on.
your number 2.
But you also got to take into account how many years of hunting, especially Iowa.
Yes,
he
that's
has
granted.
several years less.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Okay, go on with whatever you. I don't know what you're going with that.
This is where I'm going. Okay.
That's what I'm asking you to continue on with.
Yeah. Because this is gonna be good. Okay. You have a.
He's looking at David right now.
Yeah. So I'm looking at David. You have a 187 show up, and you're about 95% sure he's 3.
Shoot.
And where he's at, there's a 50-50 shot that he makes it if you pass him or not.
Shoot.
What are you doing?
I'm probably shooting.
Shoot.
He's 3?
Although,
who cares?
Well, I can
shoot.
Well, but I've had this situation with the Boone and Crockett deer on what's his nuts?
Nuts is what?
No, Cage. Cage would have been my biggest deer. I still think he would have outscored any deer I'd ever killed at the time.
What was your second? 172?
I was at 172 or something
He's
like
shot
that.
all 172s as well. You two both have like 5 172s together, and then he's got 179, and you have 176.
But when he
came,
171.
No.
172. Splits is 172 and something.
They all go 2s.
So
They're all
base
172.
drop is 172.
So we have
like
7 between two of us?
5.
You have 3, don't you, or 4?
Yeah, I have 3 172s.
And he has 2.
I have 2.
So that's 5 172s, and then you have a 176, and he has a 179.
There must be something wrong with my tape. Get the same number.
Did you just not realize this?
Well, I didn't realize it was quite that
bad. You guys did
it
back to back to back to back pretty much, too.
But so in that case, deer walks in, biggest deer that I would have ever shot, I believed, looking at him.
Yeah, he was probably mid-70s.
And you took a little bit of talking me out of it because I grabbed my bow. I'm grabbing
but here's the difference.
Good thing I wasn't in the tree with you because I would have been saying, shoot, baby.
Here's the difference with that one, though. 1, most of those deer had been making it. Not the case anymore, but they had been. Right. 2, that deer he could have gone 172. I don't think he did, but he was probably not much. I think 175
when you had
was
the
the
2
top
dagger
end.
points, he was there.
So my point is now we're only talking 3 inches from something that you've accomplished and done it with mature deer. So now we're going to go, I think that you could say that, what did I say, 187?
187, yeah.
187, it would be notably bigger than your biggest so far. Now, let's just finish your thought, and we'll go to his opinion and my opinion, which you're making your opinion very obvious, so I know that we'll need to do that.
As much as I would like to say I'm shooting, if I think he's 3, I'm going to probably take my chances.
If I am filming you this year, then I will be practicing with your bow for the rest of the summer.
Well, then that makes me shoot because he's going to die. Yeah, he's going to die. So we have a neighbor.
That made that decision.
we have a neighbor that muzzleload hunts, and he leaves food. Everything he does is legit. I have no problem with him killing the deer, but I know if certain deer, if they get by us, they're going to get killed by him or one of his buddies. And so, they're. But
he's going to get mad at you for shooting it.
But I was going to say, at the same token, if it was a 3-year-old deer, he would let it go.
Okay, so now let's say this. Let's go.
I'd knock on his door. Say, here you go, punch me in the head.
200. It's an absolute super freak, and it's a 200-inch 3-year-old.
I'll tell you the answer for him.
50-50. You shooting him or you passing him?
No, I'll tell you, he just doesn't hunt them.
Yeah, that's what I try to.
That's what he does.
I
he
just
doesn't
I don't go
at
there,
it.
so I don't get put in that situation.
We've had 2.
200?
Yeah. Dude, we have had 2 deer that have, maybe not 200, but that have been big.
Mongo, I avoided like the plague.
Oh, 3. There's 3. I wasn't even thinking of that.
I think if we didn't know what we know about deer when we had Mongo, though, we'd have been trying to kill him.
He was 3, 100%.
But he wasn't on us much at all.
He was on. Yeah, he was, and he was right at the one camera several times during the day in the middle of the rut.
It was only once during October, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had multiple, and I saw him during the day during deer season.
There wasn't anyone that was
200.
You
have Sean, that was avoided, not even hunted the year before because he was young.
Yeah, but he wasn't 200.
I said big, like 180, 190s
but
plus.
We're in a different number category when we hit 200.
No, when they get over 180, they're all freaking insanely
exactly.
huge.
I quit counting.
200 is the question. We know this deer is 200.
I agree with Easton that what I do is I avoid hunting them. I don't go there. If I think the deer is off limits and it's going to put me in a really tough
hold on.
mental
I'm not done.
situation.
I'm not done.
You have one farm, and you only can hunt that farm, and there's a 200-inch 3-year-old on it. Do you pass or not? No, shoot
There's a 6-year-old in the same place that's probably 160 or something, but he's in the same place, and you really want to try and kill this deer. You really like this deer. Actually, he's 7. The dude needs to go. He's old as dirt. He's in the same place, same farm, and there's a chance that the 2 Hondo is going to walk by. What are you going to do?
I'll probably hunt there. Try to kill the 6 or 7-year-old deer.
And then what happens when the 200 walks in?
You got to let him go if you really truly are. If you're truly the place where this comes from, I can tell you where I think that if I can't kill it on video, I don't shoot.
Well, I've never had that problem.
I know that, but I have had.
Yeah, we have had many arguments on this one before.
But that's the same thing. Do you pull the trigger or not? And I have definitely not.
So do we need to ask me then?
You're shooting.
I know you're shooting.
Oh yeah. However, I will say this: the 180, the 185 or whatever. If it's a deer that is just one of those spindly deer, and he's just got so many points because he's only 3 that get him to 180s, I'm not shooting him. Now, if he's a 3-year-old that is there's something crazy about him, he's just a freaking mass monster at 3, and he's 180s, and he can't be like 181 or 182. He's got to be solid 180s. I'm shooting him.
How many situations did you just give him? 3?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, well, number 1, if there's any deer that size, he could be 1 year old, and I'm going to target that deer. Number 2, if there is a 200-inch deer and a 6-year-old that's a 160, I'm calling Joey, and I'm saying, Joey, come sit with me.
We're going to double up.
As long as that one comes in, he's shooting that one, and I'm shooting the big one too. So I don't give a crap. The 6-year-old's still going, and one of us is killing a 200.
Easton, everybody's sitting there thinking, man, I hope Easton's not my neighbor. So what if he's 4? 200 and he's 4.
Shoot. It's all the same.
Does it change it though?
No, the only thing that changes it for me is where. Where is it? Is it a place where I feel like that I have a good chance of this deer?
That definitely has a role, I think. Absolutely.
Has a good chance of making it, then I probably am. I'll let him go and take my chances.
Even at 4?
Even at 4. 2 years ago, I passed up 2 Boone and Crockett deer.
Yeah, but you've done that before. There's a difference to me between like. If I've killed one, like now, like I could go shoot a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old 170-inch deer, I would feel guilty about. Not guilty, because it's okay if I wanted to do that. It wouldn't fulfill what I'm trying to do or what I'm trying to achieve, and I think that's because I've been fortunate enough to do that. With some mature deer, the first one I shot was 4. I told everybody we're not shooting that deer. And then I saw that deer walking towards me, and he's 20 inches bigger than anything I'd killed. And I'm like, oh, my God, I am stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
And I shot him. I got smart real quick. So I think there's got to be different levels. Now, like if it was a 200-inch 3-year-old and it was somewhere where we really thought this deer could make it, that one I probably would be doing the same thing as you and trying to avoid the area because it's like, oh, my Lord, what could this thing become?
And what that becomes is – because we don't hunt places that are big enough to harbor a deer and keep him there. So you got a neighbor, and the neighbor says, hey, we've decided we won't shoot him either. Let's all let him go and see what he becomes. Then someone comes in from out of nowhere and kills him, so be it. It just wasn't meant to be. But if you get that kind of, and that's what I'm talking about, one neighbor we have, he would do that. He would let that deer walk.
We have a 4-year-old this year though that if he does what we think he does, I think you might chase him.
I believe everybody's going to.
But he's in a place where we got very little chance of him making it another year.
Oh, the neighbor is pretty good. The one neighbor,
not the other 3. So
here's one for you, Warren. If anybody knows Warren Holder, you know that the only competition anybody has on his girlfriend would be Bullwinkle, and Bullwinkle.
What does that mean?
As in. If it wasn't for, like, you not being able to marry Bullwinkle.
Oh.
Then.
Well, I definitely wouldn't be marrying Bullwinkle. That'd be kind of weird.
Well, he would consider it. Anyways.
I like
if
the deer.
you had a deer that was clearly his genes, that was younger than him, and let's say he's bigger than what the Bullwinkle was at 4. Or, no, what was Bullwinkle? Yeah, 4. bigger than what Bullwinkle was at 4, are you shooting or passing? And this is after you've known what Bullwinkle did and everything.
And I know the deer, and he's how old?
He's 4.
He's 4. And so he's bigger than Bullwinkle's probably
whatever
160s.
Bullwinkle was when he was 4. I can't ever keep track of what he was at, where he was at. But he's bigger.
Yeah, no.
Not shooting?
No, I got Bullwinkle, so I don't need that one.
Oh.
Unless he gets bigger.
Well, I tried to shoot him the year before.
I can only think that there's a lot of people out there right now thinking, man, I can't. The numbers they're throwing around, that's just crazy. You know,
Well, you got to, like we
but
said
it's
before,
relative.
you got to put in. So if it's a
Absolutely.
130 for you, then that's only
Absolutely.
because we have those available here.
Right.
Old Chunky Monkey was going to get an arrow, baby.
Oh yeah.
Chunky Monkey was definitely a
Bullwinkle
baby.
And he was like 2.
Yeah. No, he wasn't like 2. He was 2.
Yeah. He was a 140-inch 2-year-old.
I was at full draw
when their
on him.
racks don't look correct on their bodies because they got these little pencil necks and these little gangly legs, and they're 140 already, which we knew him from 1.
When he was 1 year old, he had like 16 inches of mass on either side.
The deer
He has this little tiny rack, and it's freaking just.
I'll bet you his
bladed.
mass measurements were more than his beams.
He was
His
huge.
beams were like 11
He was
inches, but he had this just flipping mass.
If that would have been 2 years later with my experience level, he would have gotten the arrow. But I didn't.
Well, it would have been better you anyways because he
ended up dying
killing him.
anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we don't know where, but so anyhow, I mean, I think that that guy has a challenge ahead of himself. I mean, but if he's okay with it, if he's okay with letting a deer walk because he wants to better the group of people that he's hunting with and wants to make sure, he in the long run, he's helping everyone by doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Including himself.
Today's question for yourself would be, what hunter are you? Are you the meat hunter, the age hunter, or the score hunter, or the
Trophy hunter?
Yep. And take the negative connotations out of all of those, if you know of any, because they're all okay. So that's our question for you to think and reflect on yourself for today in today's podcast.
Well, but here's the whole thing, though, because I guess to give all 3 of them a name, you have a meat hunter, a manage hunter, and a trophy hunter. I've qualified as all 3.
Yeah.
And granted, if I still lived in Virginia, I probably would not be. I know I wouldn't be killing the caliber of deer that we're killing here in Iowa, like we were just talking about. So,
Which it looks like they're killing some big deer there now, though.
They are starting. I mean, a lot of the 3 and 4 point rules have gone into place. Different people are starting to manage, and when you get a whole group like this guy, it sounds like too that it's not just them. It's
his whole
neighbor,
block, and yeah.
And so when you get that kind of stuff going on, it can have a huge effect.
Well, and I think too that it's okay to keep a moving scale.
Absolutely.
Like you can't. I think you learned this lesson the hard way last year, that if you go into something and you said that this is the only way that it can be and it's absolute concrete, in certain situations in life in general, I believe that's okay, and you probably should do that, meaning that I'm going to achieve this no matter what it takes. When it comes to hunting, there's so many variables that you can't control. In life, you can control how hard you work. You can control who you hang out with. You can control where you work. You can control the skills you learn. When it comes to hunting, you can control several of those factors, but you can't control if somebody else kills that deer. You can't control where that deer is going to go.
Weather.
You can't control the weather. You can't control what the farmer does. And so then you end up putting yourself in a position where you're putting all this weight on yourself, and you have a goal that's unattainable because it may not even be there anymore.
Sounds
Nick,
like a
do
tough
me a
goal.
favor. Look up on your phone. See what
I would agree.
what a Pope and Young Coos deer is.
Hey, that's not fair
I was like, we're
because
gonna
he
have-
was there.
I was going to have to get
COUES.
you. I was like, I'm going to have to get him a psychiatrist by the end of the season.
I thought so too.
Me three. I mean, I think the whole family was ready to have an intervention for Easton.
Yeah.
It's just a deer, bro. That's we should make that a shirt. It's just a deer, bro.
Whatever.
We should.
I want to see what he comes up with because I can't remember what the number is because I don't know exactly what he scores.
It's 70, I think.
That's what
Or
or
60.
67 or something like.
Are you saying Pope and
That's
Young?
antelope.
Pope
I could
and
run
Young
and grab
Coos deer.
my
Well, he'll look
computer
it up.
map.
How
Has
is
all
deer?
of them.
While he's looking that up, we have, I think I missed this last week. So Warren's Wild Facts. And I'm going to give you 2 today.
Warren's wild or
One.
wacky facts? I thought it was a wacky fact.
1, mosquitoes are attracted to people who just ate bananas. So do not eat bananas.
So throw bananas at people you don't like. Just freaking cover them in bananas, and then you won't have any mosquitoes
Well,
on
I think
you.
they have to eat it, though.
Oh.
And then boanthropy is the psychological disorder in which patients believe they are a cow.
Boanthropy.
Boanthropy.
They literally think they're a cow?
Yes, it's a medical diagnosed psychological disorder in which patients believe they are a cow.
So a coos
I
deer
think that has
typical is
3 things that are interesting to it real quick, though. Could it be a major benefit if you had, like, elkanthropy or something, where you think you're an elk? Because now you can think like them.
That doesn't mean that you can
know
actually
what
think
to-
like, no, that means that you have a mental disability that you think that you're something
You're
you're
getting
not.
so in that space, man. You'd know what grass to eat. You
Yeah.
know where.
You could put yourself in that position anyway.
And every time
Yeah,
a girl
you know
walked
what
by,
I
you'd be
think is-
pissing on your neck. That would go over really well at parties and stuff like that.
Hey, whatever.
Speaking of the devil, that makes a lot more sense as to Warren.
No, you know what I'm wondering is all the horse people that run around on the horse
No,
pogo stick
furries.
things.
Find it?
Yeah, the furries. Maybe they have this.
No, that one's just a horse girl.
Yeah, but I mean, it ain't that much different than the ones.
No, because
the ones
they don't
pissing
think
in the
that they're
litter
a
box
horse.
and stuff in school is just freaking.
No, that's a
wild.
furry. That's a furry. You have to, yeah.
Where
Horse
do you
girls.
guys come up with this stuff?
It's not us
I
coming
know-
up with it. It's
I
from
know
Subway.
it's
happening
real.
in our-
I've heard of all
The
that.
guy that has a crush on you from Subway. That's where I learned it all.
I forgot about him.
Anyways,
Which dad
A
is
coos
super
deer.
respectful and was always really nice to
I
this guy,
was.
but boy, he did have a
man,
crush
he
on
hit
you.
on Dad harder than. Well,
Dude, I wish
yeah.
he was higher up. I wish he was higher up in Subway because we would have absolutely had a Subway sponsorship. No doubt.
70 is typical, 80 is non-typical.
70 is typical. Okay, so I killed a missed
It's
Pope and Young.
technically cow's deer too.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think so.
It is.
Warren's already got
here we
that
go.
Manoba blah blah or whatever that whatever that word is you just said.
That's
It
how
makes
it's
you think of cow.
pronounced. Go find a New Mexican and
hold
ask
on.
him.
Okay, coos, cows, whichever. My point was going to be is we're talking about a whitetail deer. He is kind of the whitetail
Yeah, it's a
species. And he doesn't even make 70 because he missed Pope and Young by a half an inch.
He was 69 and a half.
Yep. And I was freaking about to pee my pants when I saw him. I was like, and we're talking this little tiny rack, and it was so freaking cool that I was like, first of all, I didn't even think he was close to Pope and Young because I'm used to seeing the 150-inch deer kind of here. And here comes this little thing with this little rack, but I know that it's smaller, but he's got a rack. I mean, he's basically an 8-point with an extra kicker.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just remember how my heart felt, and I'm shooting. You know, I'm shooting, and I'm extremely excited about
Well,
it.
it probably helped too that you'd been sitting over a bucket for 3 days before
Yeah,
that.
I've not seen any. I hadn't even seen a bird.
Yeah.
So I was pretty pumped when I saw the 2 does and then him.
Well, I think that always is consistent though, because like when we go out to Montana occasionally and stuff, still, I see a 140-inch whitetail out there, and I'm like freaking out. Like that's a giant,
Yeah,
you know,
big.
just because I do know that out there that's top end, you know, that's a big deer. Where here, you know, at least in the summer, 140s you're probably driving past, you know, like I'll go to another one. Just
Yeah, it's
'cause
all
that's-
relative to where you live.
Yep.
And we happen to live in, if Iowa is not the number one, it's in the top 5 of best places in the world to live for whitetail.
You would know more. What the heck?
Let's see how you say coos deer.
Who are you asking?
Somebody that looks like they know history.
Oh,
Ask Google.
I tried. Google doesn't know.
You would know more about that than him or I though, because I other than I've hunted here, Missouri,
oh no,
one time, and Montana, which I will say
Kansas rivals it.
the 2 days I spent in Missouri,
Yeah,
if my buddy had been a little more astute on his cameras and stuff, I think the neighbors had killed a 200 the day we pulled in to go look at this piece.
Wrong
Like,
word.
it was a big deer.
I got it to pronounce dictionary for me.
You don't need dictionary. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
All right. Well, we're good.
We got several words that we all argue about that how they're pronounced. What is
See,
the
it's
one?
not even like a word. Like if you type into dictionary, it doesn't even know what coos is.
Are you spelling it Coues?
Yes. Yeah. doesn't know what it is, man.
Yeah, it's pronounced cows, which is the only reason I remember that is because it's so weird.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. I've heard people arguing how you pronounce aluminum now too.
How else
No,
would you
that just
pronounce
depends on
it?
if you're British or normal.
I don't know, but they pronounce it differently. I can't even say the way the other way.
Aluminium. Aluminium.
It's what? Aluminium. That's what I think people are saying.
Oh, that's a debacle.
That's the correct way. Debacle.
Good job.
Yeah.
You've come a long ways
it is?
since we
Yeah.
started this.
Debacle is correct.
I meant to say whatever I used to
Tobacco.
be saying. Was it tobacco?
I
Yeah.
mix them up now even more than ever.
I
Well,
meant to say the
what's
wrong one.
funny-
I said
I
the
used
right
to
one.
say the right one. I didn't know it.
What's funny is several of the reviews that people sent in, they started with debacle is all they said, just so
Yeah.
that you would know, and then they wrote the review.
Well, see, I thought they were making fun of me, so they were putting the wrong one. Not
No, they're putting the right one.
Yeah,
which
see,
is
Well,
that's
now
why
they
I'm so
messed me up.
confused. I'm so all sorts of screwed up. I took that out of my dictionary,
you just have a dictionary that.
my vocabulary. Like in my brain.
all right. Well, I hope that we
I don't think I've ever
not
seen that
confused you
dictionary.
guys any more than we've confused ourselves. But I do think that today was fun as far as posing the question, where are you? Where are you in your hunting career? I think Easton's probably correct. Someone might correct us and say they think there's more than 3 classifications, but those 3 cover the big gamut of people, and it's okay to be in any one of them. You can be a meat hunter, and you'll hear them all. You can't eat the horns, or eat the antlers, or however.
That's because it's not horns anyways.
So, but
Well, I think you'll know too when you get to a different level, or you'll know when you want to try to accomplish something new or different.
Right.
I think it'll make it pretty apparent.
The only thing that we get you got to be careful of is when you throw in that trophy connotation is the outside not hunters, because I think at heart everyone's got some of that trophy hunter in them. Everyone's sitting there hoping the biggest will walk by.
Well, there's 2 versions of a trophy hunter is the issue.
Well,
you have like in Africa, the amount of poaching they have is they call those poachers trophy hunters.
right.
So that's a really bad one to be related with.
The other
They
one is
call them trophy hunters over there.
A lot of them were
poachers?
because they're killing them solely for like their ivory. or
right,
their
and that's
tusks and things
what
like
we
that.
don't want is
I
someone.
thought that was the Chinese doing it on the black market and stuff, like for
Oh,
rhino
they're all
horns.
in on it. You
They're the
can't ever
ones
trust
buying
them
it.
either. Yeah, but Africa.
Oh,
is
they're
the
not the
they're not the ones shooting the.
Oh no, it's a lot of
Most of
Africans that are.
the locals are the ones that are killing them.
But that's
cut-
still poaching.
But
Yes,
they're
it's
a
poaching, but
trophy
yeah.
hunter because they're only taking the tusks
Yes.
or they're taking the hand of the gorilla or whatever it is that they're.
That's a
They
legit
do.
thing.
It's a
dude.
legit deal.
He's not kidding. That is a thing.
What's the benefit
Like
of a
they
gorilla
are
hand?
worth. Like I think it's like
lots
tens
and
of
lots
thousands
of money for whatever reason. I don't know all the benefits of why they take the things they take.
What are
There's
they doing with
there's
gorilla
some,
hands?
some kind of history behind it.
There
too.
is. I think a lot of it is aphrodisiac is driven. Some of it. Some
What
of
is
it.
aphrodisiac?
Meaning it's a sex that enhances
Oh,
their sex.
I
okay.
think that was the rhino horn.
We need a wrap.
That's what all
in
the
the
antlers
world?
Huh?
That's what all the antlers.
That doesn't answer. Now the gorilla hand's getting real weird, my man.
Dude,
Well,
the
I'm
rhino
just
horn is
telling you,
even weirder.
One of them.
That's disgusting. We need to end this podcast.
Well,
The rhino horn got me, man. That is.
Think about the gorilla hand.
Warren, the rhino is a lot worse. Okay.
Depends on where
Today,
your
I will
thoughts
be
are.
doing the one to sign us off. We talked about a lot of things that were very beneficial, and maybe we just sound dumb. Maybe we don't. Maybe you have a different opinion. So, whatever it is, do us a favor. And Apple guys, go ahead and catch up to the Spotify guys. You're very close on our reviews. And Spotify guys, if you really want to stick it to them, keep it rolling. And the next time we do a giveaway, we'll leave it to me or Dad because Warren can't figure it out. So, with that being said,
I don't see you giving stuff.
This
to
is
the
the-
Rays family.
the Raised Hunting Podcast signing off.
we out.